Welcome to Christmas with Horley Baptist Church. Wherever you're joining in, get cosy, grab a Christmassy hot chocolate, and let's spend some time together stepping into the Christmas story.
Steady on. In this online Christmas experience, we're telling the Christmas story of how the baby Jesus
crawled into Santa's sack and got taken back to the North Pole to be raised by elves.
No, that's elf. Jesus wasn't raised by elves. Jesus was the son of
Santa, and he teamed up with Grand Santa and the reindeer to deliver Gwen her bike before Christmas morning.
No, that's after Christmas. Look, this story isn't about that either. It's about love.
Actually, it is all around.
No, it's not. It's for people who find themselves feeling like they're alone.
At home, and they've got to booby trap their house before the thieves break in?
No, look, Helen, this is better than a film you can watch at Christmas. This is a story that's hope when you're hurting, it's life when you're lost, it's light when you feel like you're sitting in the darkness. Okay, let's roll the film.
There are so many stories we love revisiting at Christmas time, but no story has changed the world like the story of Jesus. The question is the story of the birth of Jesus just another one to get out once a year to give you a boost of Christmas spirit? Today we want to help you and whoever you're watching this with to find something in the original Christmas story that will remain with you and still mean something to you once the Christmas decorations have been taken down, the lights have gone away and the new year has been seen in. So, we are glad that you have chosen to be part of this online Christmas experience, and our hope is that it will make a difference to what this season means to you.
A family member, or maybe you're the family member, that when you ask, what do you want for Christmas? They say, well, I don't need anything. That's my mum's response every single year. You see, my mum, she's a pretty content lady. She doesn't ask for much. I want to suggest that actually this is the reason why most of us brush past the story of Jesus every year. You see, the story of Jesus, as the church claims, is a story about the birth of a saviour for humanity itself. If you don't think you have any need for a saviour, then a saviour is of little interest to you. Maybe the story of Christmas for you is like getting another pair of socks every year, even though the ones that you opened last year went straight in the back of the drawer. Oh, this again, thanks, but I'm covered. I don't need these, and you smile politely and you pop them away again. You know, I realised recently that I have never bought myself a pair of my own socks. I always rely on getting them for Christmas, but last year I didn't get any, and now, look, I've got holes in my socks. And so if somebody presented me with socks this year, well, I'd be pretty delighted with that gift because now it's something I need. Now it's a great gift. Now here's the point. If you don't believe you need saving, then the Christmas message makes almost no sense. But for those who knew that they needed a saviour, it changed everything. Now, we cannot imagine living in the situation that those in the first century who first heard about Jesus lived. The Jewish people were living under Roman rule in a land that God had promised would belong to them. Poverty and illness were around every corner. Tensions were rising between the Jewish people and the Roman guards who enforced taxation in the region. They needed a saviour. And as the story goes, the news of a saviour first arrived to a group of low-life shepherds who lived away from the crowd, away from the ruling classes, away from the hustle and bustle of the world, and away from mainstream society. And when they thought that there was even the remotest possibility that somebody had come to save them from the reality that they found themselves in, well, they got up and went straight away. because a saviour was exactly what they needed. So I wonder if this year, like me experiencing a need for socks that I've never felt before, you are experiencing the need for a saviour. For somebody to come and help you because of the mess that you find yourself in, because maybe you're grieving, or you find yourself lost, or you find yourself alone for the first time, or you find yourself in debt, or you find yourself sick. Your circumstances are not the same as when you last heard this story. In that case, it might be time to give the story of the Saviour of the world a second look.
Bill and Estelle from number 7, they bought a present.
Hang on a mo, quick up a go, gifts from last year, no, bring one here.
What can this be? Was this for me? Who is this from? Just pass it on.
Ashtrays for smoke,
We do not smoke.
hum, don't be smart.
Perhaps you could start.
Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Work makes us play Santa for a day, must spend on just £5 or less.
Crumbs I forgot, not have I brought. What have we here? Be of good cheer. My very own,
A library loan
this isn't new.
is overdue. Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
What's in the bag?
School teacher swag, look at the math, gifts from the class.
Box after box.
Chocks upon chocks.
Haven't you spread it? You're diabetic.
Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Merry, 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 merry Christmas.
Now, maybe if somebody says to you, well, you might need a saviour, your initial reaction is to push back a bit and go, well, hang on, I don't need anyone. I shouldn't need anybody, let alone a saviour. I think generally speaking, that's kind of how our world and our culture tends to think, isn't it? We shouldn't need anybody else. We're fine, self-sufficient individuals. Think about in the 60s and 70s, the songs that reached popularity said things like, we all need somebody to lean on, and everybody needs somebody, and help, I need somebody. But over the years, the songs sound a bit more like, well, you need me, man, but I don't need you. Or, I love me, I love myself, I don't need anybody else. But then we lived through something that showed us that maybe we do need one another, maybe more than we realised. We need companionship, we need friendship, we need relationships, we need people to do life with us. Without it, life gets tougher and it feels a little emptier. We've all walked through something that's made us realise that over the past couple of years. So maybe we do need other people. Maybe the real problem is we just can't stand them. Now, anyone who's ever had a big Christmas family event that's lasted over several days has realised this problem. Now, you know you need your family and you care about your family, you love your family, you wouldn't have Christmas without them. But after a few days being in the house all together, you realise you can't stand them anymore. I'm recently married and I'm realising this is one of the problems in marriage or in any long-term relationship. I know that relationship is important to me, I know I need to keep it healthy, but there are times when we just can't stand one another. Isn't it true that all of us have had people that we've really valued in our lives, people we thought we needed, but we got to a place in the relationship where we woke up one morning maybe and realised, I can't stand them anymore, or they did something, I can't stand them anymore, or they decided they couldn't stand us anymore. And a little further from home, our world tears itself apart over this, doesn't it? I mean, we know we need one another for society to work, for a global market to work, but we can't stand those people or their political ideas or that group. We need each other. In many ways, we're dependent on one another, and yet we keep facing this problem that we can't stand one another. Maybe, even though people are our greatest source of comfort, they're actually also our greatest source of grief, aren't they? Maybe it's safer to just keep people at a distance. Maybe it's safer to go it alone and not need anybody else. Maybe it feels easier, simpler. Maybe this is the problem at the core of all of our relationships. We need one another, but the truth is, we can't stand one another, or worse, we've felt what it feels like when somebody says that they can't stand us. You know, I'm beginning to realise that if there's anybody who can help us to overcome this problem of not being able to stand one another, and if there's anyone the world should be paying attention to right now when it comes to this, it's Jesus. Now, whatever you think about God, the story of the Bible and the story of Christmas makes it abundantly clear that God does not have this same problem. But nevertheless, he did do something to deal with it. Now, God, if you can imagine, is the most ultimate, the most essential, the most powerful being in existence. He existed before anything else. In fact, nothing that exists came about without him. So he doesn't need humanity. He doesn't need people. But the story of the Bible tells us that God created humanity not out of necessity, but out of love. Yet, even though humanity was created by him, created for relationship with him, we decided that we couldn't stand God. We couldn't stand putting him first. And we couldn't stand the people that God had put us alongside. And so we opted to live in separateness from God and from one another, a kind of social distancing of our own making. Now, you would have thought at some point that God would just throw up his hands and say, well, do you know what? I'm done. I'm done with the human race. They have rejected me time and time again. But he didn't. Instead, he pursued togetherness with us by doing something pretty radical. So crazy as it sounds, and by the way, Christians are aware that this sounds crazy, God became a human being in the person of Jesus and lived amongst us. He came and spent time with people who loved him and with people who despised him. He lived in close proximity with a world that had turned their back on God, time and time again. And then, even though he was innocent and blameless and had done no wrong, he willingly gave up his life for the sake of the world. And in doing so, he took all that messes up the relationship between God and us onto himself. And he made a way for God and us to be together again. Jesus forged a pathway from separateness to togetherness. And that is the message worth celebrating at Christmas time. That God could do more than just stand to be with us. He pursued us. He came as close to us as he could get. He took on the limitations even of being a vulnerable human baby. He decided relationship with us was worth that cost and even worth the cross. All so that he could turn a relationship that looked like it was permanently broken into one that was permanently whole. So this is why one of the names that Jesus is known by is the Prince of Peace, because he mended what was broken. He took the pieces and made them whole again and restored unity and togetherness. And this is what Jesus was all about throughout his ministry. He was somebody who didn't push the world away. He didn't push the difficult people away. He didn't push the poorest of the poor or the richest of the rich away. He didn't push the weak or the selfish away. He didn't push the sick away or the outcast away. He opened his arms wide for the whole world, anybody and everybody, to come to him and find home with him, including me and including you. If there's anybody who can teach us to overcome the problem of not being able to stand one another, it's Jesus. Because he could do more than just stand to be with us. He threw open the door for an unconditional relationship with him. Maybe this is the thing that would make 2022 different for you. Maybe this is what you have been waiting for. You do not have to go it alone. Separateness is not the best option, and it's not the only option. You have received an invitation to be part of the family of God, and it's a free gift. Maybe this is the time to rip the wrapping paper off that gift, to grab hold of what has been offered to you.
You're watching something really
Thank you so much for watching this Christmas episode. And maybe you're getting a little bit interested about Jesus and the difference he might make in your life or the lives of those you care about. If so, don't let it end here. We love to be there for you wherever you are on that journey. Join along with our January series, Coming Together Again, online or at Horley Baptist Church in person. You'd be really welcome to join us. And if you want to speak to somebody, you can email gotquestions@horleybaptist.org.uk. But we've got time for one last Christmassy treat, haven't we?
Yeah! So it's time to light a candle, if there's one nearby, and listen, sing along to, or just sit and take in this beautiful Christmas carol. You might have heard it before, but we hope and pray that this Christmas it helps you to know the love of God that was proven as He sent His one and only Son to the world, so that you would know Him better and live in togetherness with God and with others.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar. Heavenly hosts sing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face. With the dawn of redeeming grace, Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, Jesus, Lord, at thy birth.
Oh, hi! I'll wait till you finish talking this time. It's my fault. As He sent His one and only Son into the sun, so that you would know Him better. Sent His Son into the sun.
Don't
We
worry.
were doing so well.
I have visions of like an astronaut.
The rocket.
See you later.